Hi everybody, my name is Marcella Dominguez and I welcome you back to my channel. Make sure that you hit the bell and the subscribe button below so you can be notified when I release more videos to help you along your legal journey. Today we're talking about freelancing. Are you a freelancer? Do you want to be a freelancer? Have you thought about freelancing and quitting your job? If you have, then this video is for you. Let me just tell you that I know that freelancers out there have no idea where to begin. Well, and not just freelancers, but business owners generally sometimes have no idea where to begin in terms of contracts. What contracts should I have my client sign? Should I even have a contract? What if it's just a friend that I'm performing services for? I already gave somebody their logo and nothing happened, so why should I even have a contract? There are so many different types of issues that could come up if you are a freelancer. So who in the world is a freelancer? What does a freelancer even mean? Would you consider yourself a freelancer, or do you not even know how to answer that question simply because you're not sure? So maybe you work for somebody, maybe you already work for an agency. Let's just say you're a logo designer and you're already employed by a branding agency, but you have a friend who hires you to perform a specific type of work. Maybe they're looking for a logo for their new clothing store. And so they say, hey, I want you to create the logo for me because I know that you are really good at what you do. So are you necessarily considered a freelancer just because you do one-off logo that is not considered part of your regular employee work? Well, let me just tell you that that would be considered a freelancing job. So you would, in essence, be a freelancer for that particular job. So you should be asking yourself, well, sure, of course, I know I can design a logo. I know that I know how to create beautiful websites. Maybe you know how to draft really beautiful templates. I should say, maybe you're really good as a designer, as an artist, as a creative, because that is just second nature to you. I can guess with almost 100% certainty that contracts and the legal aspect is not necessarily your forte. And so maybe you have asked yourself, do I even need to give my clients a contract? Should I consider that the first time around? Should I maybe consider it maybe the next time, since this is just a friend of mine? And if you've watched my other videos, then you know that having a contract is pretty important. And a contract is important for those times when there is not a meeting of the minds. In other words, in law school, they teach us that there has to be a meeting of the minds when both parties enter into a contract. And so there's offer, acceptance, and a meeting of the minds. And so really what all that means is, okay, you agree to the terms that are in the contract and you agree to the terms that are in the contract. Now let's both sign because we agree to everything that's written in the contract. And so as a freelancer, maybe what's at the front of your mind is, I know that I can do a really kick-ass job creating this logo for somebody, but what's not at the forefront of your mind is, let's have a contract to delineate everything we're agreeing to just in case something goes wrong. So I always say that lawyers should be thinking in worst case scenarios, right? I mean, that's what you hire a lawyer for. What happens if something goes wrong? I mean, you hire a lawyer to protect you, right? And you hire somebody to protect you from those worst case scenarios. So if you're somebody that is not even thinking about having a contract, then you are in the right place. I have created a whole new service for you. All you have to do is scroll down into the description below and you will see the link where you can find all sorts of templates that are more than likely applicable to the situation that you find yourself in. Now, are these contracts for a freelancer or are these contracts for the client? So let's say I'm the one purchasing a logo. Should I be looking down into the description if I am the client, or should I be looking down in the description below if I am the freelancer? And the answer is either one. If you are somebody that is contracting with a freelancer to get a logo made, to get a website designed, anything, then more times than not, the freelancer should be providing the contract. But if they don't provide the contract, you are also able to provide your own contract. So if you're a freelancer or you're somebody that is just starting out as a freelancer, I am so excited for you because this is just the beginning of what could be something way bigger. So you could eventually start a branding agency, you could start a website design company, but for now, maybe you're somebody who's just freelancing your service either on Upwork or Fiverr, or maybe neither of those platforms, but people know that you are providing these independent freelancing type of jobs. And so the rest of this video is going to be really important for you because you need to figure out if you have the proper contract in place for each of the clients that are going to hire you. So maybe somebody's going to be hiring you for logo design. Maybe somebody's going to be hiring you for website design. Should you have the same contract for each of these types of services, or should you have a different contract for each of these types of services? So I really want this part to be clear. If you are already working for somebody and you are an employee of that company, then everything that you design for that company is obviously not going to be considered freelance work. But let's say your friend across the street says, hey, I've noticed your work before because I've seen your portfolio. I really want to hire you to create a logo for me for my new store. Would you be willing to do that? Well, then that would mean that that is outside the scope of what you are currently doing, work you are currently performing for your employer. So that would be a freelance job. So anything that is outside of the scope of your employment with a particular agency or company would be considered a freelance job. And for all those types of freelance jobs, you want to make sure that you're legally covered with the right contracts. And it's something that's not always at the forefront of your mind, and that's why I'm creating this video. We want to make sure that you stick to what you're good at, which is executing the creative side and either designing that logo or that website, or maybe helping somebody make t-shirts, or maybe you love product packaging. So there are so many things that you could do as a creative, right? And maybe you want to explore what other talents you have as a creative, but you don't want to be focusing on the legal aspect. So for you who doesn't want to be focusing on the legal stuff, I want to make sure that you know about the resources that I have provided, which you can find down in the link below. And it's great because all you have to do is find the contract that's appropriate for your situation, and you can go ahead and print it, or you can download it electronically and have your client sign it and be on your merry way. So you always want to have some kind of contract in place that delineates what you are performing and what the buyer has paid for. That way you lessen the likelihood that something like a lawsuit would happen, or you lessen your risk for argument, basically. But you know, it doesn't mean that just because you have a contract, you've eliminated the other person's ability to sue you. No, that's not what a contract is either. But there are clauses within contracts that do force both of you to mediate before you would be able to arbitrate. So there are lots of different types of terms that could go into a contract that maybe you're not even aware of. And quite frankly, you don't want to deal with it. So that's why I have these templates available for you down below. You don't have to think about what's going to go in there. You can just print it, you can download it, you can send it to the client and be on your merry way. You can make sure that at the very least your legal bases are covered. So if that's you and you want to make sure that you have some kind of protection, then make sure you visit the link below. Oh, and I forgot to say that these are very reasonably priced templates. Can you customize them? Sure you can. Do you want to hire us to review those contracts and maybe insert some personalized language in there for your type of situation? Of course you can do that too. So I just want to make sure that you have your bases covered and understand that there are different terms that could be in a contract that might not necessarily be available in some other types of contracts. And if you are somebody that is providing your services on the Fiverr or Upwork platforms, then make sure that you watch this video right here where I talk about who actually owns the copyright in those types of situations to make sure you are clear on copyright laws when it comes to freelancing your services on other platforms. Just click right there. So if you're a freelancer watching this video, I want to know what kind of freelancer you are. Use the comments section below to tell me whether you're a photographer, a designer, maybe you love designing product packaging, maybe you love photography services. So tell me what kind of creative you are down below. Everybody knows that creatives makes the world go round, and so I want your services to be available to people who might be watching this and be in need of your services. Who knows, maybe you could collaborate with other people who are also writing down in the comments below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.